Disclaimer: this story contains mature themes intended for adult viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. I remember the exact moment something shifted. It wasn't loud or obvious. It was quiet, like a breath held too long. We were supposed to be having a normal weekend. Just the four of us. Me, my boyfriend, and our closest friends, another couple we'd known for years. We'd shared dinners, late-night talks, road trips. The kind of friendships where boundaries blur without anyone saying it out loud. That night, the air felt different. The music was low, the lights dimmed just enough to soften everything. We laughed more than usual, lingered a little too long in eye contact. I noticed things I hadn't before. The way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she smiled. The way her boyfriend leaned back, watching everything like he already knew how the night would unfold. And my boyfriend, he wasn't acting strange. Just more present. More aware. Like he was tuned into something I couldn't quite hear yet. I told myself I was imagining it. Until I heard her. It was faint at first. A soft sound from down the hallway. Not a word. Not quite a voice. Just enough to make me pause mid-step. I remember standing there, my hand hovering near the door, my heart doing something unfamiliar. Not panic. Not jealousy. Something else. Something warmer. Something that made me hesitate and lean in at the same time. Because deep down, I think I already knew. We had all been circling something for a while. Unspoken. Unacknowledged. Hidden beneath jokes and long glances and moments that lasted a second too long. And now, it was right on the other side of that door. I pushed it open. What I saw should have shocked me. But it didn't. It felt like stepping into something that had been waiting for me. No one moved at first. No one explained. No one needed to. Their eyes met mine. And in that silence, everything changed. Because instead of turning away, I stepped forward. The room didn't erupt into chaos like you'd expect. No one rushed to explain. No one scrambled to fix what I had just walked into. Instead, everything slowed down. It was almost strange how calm it felt. She was sitting at the edge of the bed, her breath uneven but her expression steady. My boyfriend stood a step away from her, his shoulders tense, like he'd been caught between stopping and continuing. And then there was him, her partner, leaning casually against the wall, arms folded, watching me the way someone watches the final move in a game they already understand. No one looked guilty. That was the first thing that unsettled me. We had always been close, the four of us. But looking back, the signs had been there. The way conversations drifted into personal territory late at night. The way we teased each other just enough to blur the line between joking and something more. The way silence sometimes said more than words ever could. I remembered the weekend trips where we ended up sharing stories we never told anyone else. The long drives where hands brushed accidentally and no one pulled away too quickly. The quiet understanding that we trusted each other, maybe more than we admitted. And standing there now, I realized something else. This didn't start tonight. This had been building. "I thought you'd come," he said softly from across the room. Not surprised. Not defensive. Certain. My eyes flicked to my boyfriend. He didn't deny it. Didn't explain. He just looked at me like he was waiting, not for forgiveness, but for a decision. That did something to me. Because suddenly, I wasn't on the outside of this moment. I was right in the center of it. I stepped further into the room, closing the door behind me without thinking. The quiet click echoed louder than it should have. Her eyes followed me, curious, almost inviting. Not in a way that demanded anything, but in a way that made space for it. We didn't speak much after that. We didn't need to. It was in the way we stood closer than usual. The way our voices softened. The way every small movement felt deliberate, like we were all aware of a line, and how close we were to crossing it. And then he pushed himself off the wall and took a step toward me. Not rushed. Not hesitant. Just enough to change everything. Something in the room shifted the second he moved closer. Not just physically, but emotionally, like whatever we had all been holding back was finally stepping into the open. I didn't move away. That surprised me more than anything. Up until that moment, I thought I understood my place in all of this. I was the observer. The one who would walk in, feel the tension, and decide whether to stay or leave. But standing there, with all three of them watching me, I realized I wasn't outside the story anymore. I was part of it. "You always notice everything," he said quietly, stopping just a step away from me. It wasn't a question. It felt like something he had been thinking for a long time. And maybe he was right. Because I had noticed the way his attention lingered on me during conversations. The way he remembered small things I said when no one else did. The way my boyfriend never seemed threatened by it, almost like he trusted it. Or worse, expected it. That thought hit harder than I wanted it to. I glanced back at my boyfriend, searching his face for something clear. A sign. A boundary. But all I found was that same steady look. Calm. Open. Like he wasn't losing anything, like he was waiting to see what I would choose. That unsettled me. Because beneath the calm, there was a question neither of us had ever asked out loud. Had we been enough for each other? Or had we both felt this quiet pull toward something more? Behind me, I could feel her presence shift. She stood now, closer than before, not interrupting, just there. Close enough that I could sense her hesitation too. We weren't as different as I thought. Maybe she had felt it building as well. The small moments. The curiosity. The way comfort can slowly turn into something harder to define. "I think we've all known," she said softly, her voice steady but careful. No one disagreed. That was the most revealing part. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was heavy, honest. For people. For different emotions tangled into one moment. Curiosity. Nerves. Trust. And something else. Something that made it harder to step back now that we had come this far. My heart was racing, but not from fear. From anticipation. Because for the first time, it felt like we were all standing at the same edge, looking at each other, waiting for someone to decide what happens next. And then, my boyfriend finally spoke. "Are you sure?" The space between us felt charged, like the air before a storm finally breaks. No one rushed it. That somehow made it worse, or maybe better. I could hear my own heartbeat, steady but heavier now, as if it understood something my mind was still trying to catch up to. He stopped just a step away from me, close enough that I could feel the shift in the room, but not touching. "Not yet." "You don't have to stay," my boyfriend said quietly behind me. His voice wasn't angry. It wasn't even tense. It was careful. That almost undid me. I turned slightly, just enough to look at him. There was something in his expression I hadn't seen before. Not distance, not guilt, something closer to openness. Like he was letting me see a part of him he'd kept hidden, not because he had to, but because he chose to. And suddenly, this wasn't just about what I had walked into. It was about everything we hadn't said before. "I know," I replied softly. And I meant it. That was the moment everything shifted again. Not because of what anyone did, but because of what no one stopped. She stood slowly from the edge of the bed, her movements calm, almost deliberate. As she stepped closer, I caught the smallest smile on her lips. Not smug. Not teasing. Just understanding. Like she knew exactly how this felt. Like she had been here before me, standing on the same invisible line. Her partner moved slightly to the side, giving space, but never really stepping out of the moment. His eyes moved between all of us, reading every glance, every breath, like this was something unfolding exactly as expected. And maybe it was. Because the truth was, none of this felt sudden anymore. It felt inevitable. "I always wondered," she said quietly, her voice soft enough that it almost blended into the room, "what would happen if we stopped pretending we didn't notice?" No one answered her. No one needed to. Because we had all noticed. Every look that lingered too long. Every joke that carried a second meaning. Every moment where the line blurred just enough for us to feel it, but not cross it. Until now. I felt it in the way we stood closer. The way silence stretched but didn't break. The way every small movement seemed louder, more intentional. My boyfriend stepped forward then, just slightly. Not toward me. Toward the center of all of us. And that's when it hit me, this wasn't about one choice. It was about all of us. All at once. No one looked away. No one stepped back. And just as the distance between us disappeared completely, everything paused. The silence didn't last long. It couldn't. Not with everything building the way it was. I felt it in my chest, in the way my thoughts were no longer clear or steady. Every instinct I had told me this was the moment to decide. Step back, or step forward. Keep things the way they were, or accept that nothing would ever be the same again. But the truth was, that choice didn't feel simple anymore. Because standing there, surrounded by them, I realized something unsettling. I didn't want things to go back. You feel it too, don't you? He said quietly, his voice cutting through the silence like he had been waiting for the exact second to speak. I didn't answer right away. I didn't need to. The look on my face must have said enough. And that's when the second shift happened. Not in the room, but inside me. Because for the first time, I wasn't just reacting to what was happening. I was aware of how much I wanted it. Not just the moment, not just the attention, but the honesty of it. The way nothing was hidden anymore. The way we were all standing there, fully seen, with no excuses left. Behind me, my boyfriend exhaled slowly. I didn't plan this, he admitted. That made me turn. There it was again, that openness. But this time, something else sat underneath it. Vulnerability. I just didn't stop it either. That hit deeper than anything else. Because it wasn't about betrayal. It wasn't about losing control. It was about permission. Unspoken. Shared. Dangerous. And somehow, that made it harder to resist. I think, she added softly, stepping a little closer into the circle, we've all been waiting for someone else to make it real. Her words didn't feel reckless. They felt true. Too true. Because suddenly, all the moments from before came rushing back with a different meaning. The lingering glances. The ease between us. The trust that had slowly turned into something more layered, more complicated. This wasn't new. It had just never been acknowledged like this. Until now. Her partner straightened slightly, no longer leaning back, no longer observing from a distance. He was fully part of it now, his gaze steady, grounded. If we walk away, he said calmly, we'll pretend this never happened. A pause. But we won't forget. That was the twist. Not what we might do, but what it would mean if we didn't. Because either way, something had already changed. The line wasn't where it used to be anymore. I swallowed, my thoughts racing, my emotions pulling in two directions at once. Safety and curiosity. Comfort and something far more intense. And then I felt it, a hand brushing lightly against mine. Not accidental. Not forced. Just enough to ask the question without words. I didn't pull away. And the second I didn't, everyone noticed. The air tightened again, heavier than before, like the room itself was holding its breath. Because now it wasn't just tension. It was a decision in motion. And just as I started to respond, someone knocked on the front door. Loud. Unexpected. And perfectly timed to change everything. The knock broke the moment, but it didn't erase it. If anything, it made everything clearer. No one moved right away. We all just stood there, caught between what almost happened and what it revealed. The tension didn't disappear, it softened, shifting into something quieter, something more honest. I'll get it, her partner said, his voice steady again, though his eyes lingered on us for a second longer before he turned away. The sound of his footsteps fading down the hallway gave the rest of us space to breathe. Real space. I looked at my boyfriend first. Really looked at him. Not through the haze of the moment, not through confusion or curiosity, but clearly. And what I saw wasn't distance or doubt. It was trust. That grounded me. We should talk, I said softly. He nodded immediately, like he had been waiting for that. Across from us, she exhaled, a small smile touching her lips. Not awkward. Not tense. Just understanding. Like she knew this wasn't the end of something, but the beginning of a different kind of honesty. Whatever this was, she said gently, it doesn't have to break anything. Her words settled over the room in a way that felt right. Because she was right. What happened wasn't about losing each other. It was about seeing each other more clearly than before. The feelings, the curiosity, the tension, none of it came from nowhere. It came from connection, from closeness, from trust that had grown strong enough to hold even the complicated parts. And now it was up to us to decide what to do with that. My boyfriend stepped closer, not rushed, not uncertain, just present. "Hey," he said quietly. That one word held so much. A question, a reassurance, a beginning. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding and stepped into him, resting my forehead lightly against his. It was simple, familiar, but it felt deeper now. Like we had just crossed something invisible and come back stronger, not broken. Behind us, we could hear the front door open, voices exchanging casually, life continuing like nothing had shifted. But everything had. Not in a way that pulled us apart. In a way that made us more honest, more aware, more connected. Later that night, as we sat together in the quiet, his hand resting in mine, there was no need to explain everything all at once. We just stayed there. Close. Certain. And somehow, closer than we had ever been before.